Today, I have advocate put mine with me on my podcast, who has agreed to come here and grace my podcast with his presence. Advocate Manu Bhardwaj, welcome to Candid With RMT.
Thank you so much. Did not have to do it that way, but
Well, your reputation precedes you, so that is how you have to play it.
I hope not. But yes, what's up?
Nothing. We are here to talk about the profession and what other things people are doing after pursuing this profession, which brings you to you, which is something that you started doing, which was stand-up comedy, something which is very unconventional, and people after pursuing law especially. There's Anubhav Bassi who did that, but I think the second person that is sort of comes to my mind is you. So take me through that journey of from law to stand-up comedy. How did that happen?
First of all, thanks for putting me in the same list as Bassi. I'm not as big, but I will be one day.
Yes, inshallah.
But so honestly, I see law as a gateway for a lot of things. That my parents, they were both lawyers, and they used to say that पहले law कर लो, फिर जो करना है वो कर लो. So I was always interested in law, but eventually when in law school, I did 6 years of law, so that was a long time, and those are also your forming years when you're finding a lot of things about yourself. I was always into acting, I was always into making jokes, making videos. So my interests were there. That's also why I did entertainment law a master's in entertainment law, because I was always inclined towards such things. But as law school went on, I realized more about myself. I realized, okay, law is great, I want to do this, but my heart is somewhere else for sure. I wanted to pursue like this. I believe that there is something I'm good at, and that is making jokes, that is making people laugh, and I would want to give it an honest shot. But still, again, I have 6 years of, for me it's like a backup. So we have 6 years of law to fall back on if I fail in being a stand-up comedian or making my name in it. So that was the idea behind it. And while I was doing my master's, I used to watch a lot of stand-up all the time. I would think that, okay, if these people can, then I also can. And for me, comedy, because comedy is also a coping mechanism in life.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I would see issues, whether it be in the system, whether it be the legal system, or even personal life, so I would always deal with them through comedy. I would just make jokes on them. So when I came back, I started practicing, and then I realized there are a lot of things in the system which are like, there's a lot of problems in the legal system, whether it be nepotism, whether it be harassment of women, whether it be multiple things. So the first instant reaction was to make jokes about it. The go-to thing for me was to get humor out of it, and then that's how I also wanted to raise these issues, because for me humor is a way it is the best way to raise issues, because people then actually okay, they'll laugh for a second, but then they'll actually think, okay, what is this guy saying, and what I say grabs their attention as well because it's funny. So people they start off laughing, but eventually they have to think about what are the reasons behind these things. And also because there was no legal comedy. For legal comedy, it was never a field, obviously, but now I hear a lot of people saying that, okay, you have broken into a niche, a new field you have created for yourself, that's legal comedy. But उससे पहले क्या होता था, reels हो जाएंगे, लोग डांस कर रहे हैं, वो दिखा रहे हैं, influencers कुछ कर रहे हैं. And I always found it stupid. I did not find any of that shit to be funny. I knew that because lawyers are so smart, they deserve better humor as well.
Absolutely. That's true. That is something very actually heart-touching what you just said about the fact that once you make a joke on a sensitive issue, the first reaction is obviously laughter, but the second reaction is that introspection. That, okay, why did he say that? What did he have that? What intention did he or she have? Or why did it go that way? That is something, so baffling that in our profession, or I mean, I don't know if it's baffling or not, but it's interesting, I would say, that humor is that sort of one guiding force that sort of, glues people together on a social issue or even on a non-social issue, but sort of just binds them together. So take me through your journey of Instagram. I mean, Instagram and YouTube are like these two sources of people, going out and reaching out and seeing you. How do you do your reels? What is the thought process? What is the setup like? I've seen you, shoot multiple videos before the courts of Delhi and Bombay and other places as well.
We have shot one together.
As a legal influencer, true legal influencer. So yeah, I mean, talk me through that process. If someone is watching and wants to aspires to be a legal influencer or enter the legal comedy field, what does he or she have to do?
Okay, so on the advice part later, but I would tell more about the background of how it started and what I wanted to do. I think it started around this time last year. It's been 1 year, and I was just walking. I was practicing. So I was walking in the court, and usse pehle I was just scrolling and watching a lot of legal reels. Where the people are just standing outside the court and like, oh, I'm in a scorching heat, बहुत गर्मी लग रही है. अरे सबको पता है, everybody knows it. Like, I don't know what you're doing. Together you give some legal advice to a lot of people who are not even lawyers, and that's good, great, amazing. But a lot of it came from a place of privilege. A lot of it came from ignorance. And I realized, okay, I'll just open my camera and I'll just shoot a video and I'll just say something, whatever. And I'll just talk about the fact that how nepotism, I just put nepotism into it, because that's the start, that's the first thing you see in the legal industry. If you're practicing as a litigator, you know what I'm talking about. You walk in the courts and that's the first thing you see, somebody saying, oh, ye iska beta hai, ye hai, iske dad, ye senior advocate, this and that. So I just took my camera out, I said what I said about the high cold coffee and whatever, but I took a loan of 5 crores from my dad, things like that. And then I thought nothing of it. I was like, okay, I'll just put it, but let's see. Itna kuch, I was not expecting anything, but it blew up. It blew up because people, for the first time, people thought, okay. So they thought that I was being serious, but people who got it, and then after that it became a series. After that, I started raising more issues, things. People, like, while you're in the system, people would tell you every day what is going on with them. You walk in the courts. So I just started talking about the canteen. I started talking about whatever, like the harassment of women, the issues they face. I started talking about everything else, the elections, things like what happens in the elections. And so that was very new, very fresh for a lot of people. So that's how it blew up. And now, like, eventually these videos have, like, I think I have 10, 15. I think of a lot of jokes, I think of what to say, because sometimes you cannot also say anything, but it has worked out. And now on the advice part, okay, so if you want to be a lawyer, great. A lot of lawyers are funny. I knew for a fact that I would be great at this. I would be great at comedy. So being a nepo kid myself, my parents are also lawyers, but the only case they've ever given me is their divorce case. But I wanted to make a mark on the legal industry. I wanted to be known as Manu Abhishek Bhardwaj, not as, oh, this is Sunita ma'am's son, this is his whatever. And now, so that's why I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something I'm good at. But I wouldn't suggest that, oh, you leave law and everybody should be a stand-up comedian, because it's a dream. It takes a lot of talent or whatever. And I really don't think that I have a lot of talent, but it takes a lot of hard work. But you just leaving everything to pursue this, I would not recommend. But if you believe that you have the talent, if you believe that you can do this, if you can make people laugh, and if it's your passion, go ahead. But if law, obviously the amount of money you will print in law, the things you will do in law eventually.
And that's a big eventually.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
All the best to everyone.
All the best.
So yeah.
Yeah, so being in front of the camera is something that you like, and that is something that sort of, gives you that confidence to actually talk to your viewers about those issues. Has it always been this thing with you that you sort of are a cameraman, not a cameraman, but a camera person, like love being in front of the camera?
I would rather be in front of the camera than to be in front of a judge, for sure. Because that's where the anxiety kicks in. In camera, you know that okay, we can do takes, retakes. I also sometimes get conscious in front of the camera as well, but it has gotten better now. I'm shooting like in front of big cameras and a lot of other things. So yeah, I was always into making videos. I was always into making people laugh, and that's like that. बचपन से ही होता है ना कि in 6th 7th standard there was a thing called Windows Live Movie Maker. And I just stumbled. Windows 7 had just come in. It was an inbuilt feature. I just stumbled upon it. I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. This looks interesting. And then how to edit videos. I started making videos. Then I started shooting them, and I put myself there. And I would put my friends there. I would edit. And that's back then you don't realize that okay, this is just some time pass for me. But eventually it grows as a part of your personality. And so in college also I was shooting videos. Wherever I go, whatever I do, it's not like I'm shooting videos all the time, but I love like the writing a script, then doing the screenplay, putting it all together, then editing it. So yeah, that's where my inclinations are. Even in my CV, I'm really good at video editing. I'm good at acting. I'm good at stand-up comedy. So yes,
and it's a great feeling. I mean, to be in front of the camera and just talk to your viewers and especially when you get that response. That okay, you're doing a good job, and you want to feel important, that you're getting that attention that you want. So I mean, that's great. So what's next, Manu? Where do we go from here?
I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about the fact that how I love being in front of the camera, and I just take the camera out because I think there are a lot of scams happening in the legal industry. But talking of scams, I think you were recently scammed, and I think you're doing something about it.
Yes.
So please, I just want to talk to you about it. What's been up with that?
So yeah, talking about the scam, which was the World Startup Convention scam. This was taking place in Greater Noida, and this happened on the 24th of March. This was supposed to be the biggest funding festival, where there were supposed to be 75,000 startups. 10,000 plus investors and venture capitalists. Big names like Mr. Nitin Gadkari, Sundar Pichai, Elon Musk, Honorable Health Minister, Deputy CM of UP, among others, were supposed to be present there. 4 influencers, namely Mr. Chetan Bhagat, Mr. Ankur Wareku, Mr. Raj Shamani, Mr. Praful Billore, also endorsed this event, so that there's a certain credibility which gets built up. On the day of the event, when we reach there, we see that there are no investors, there are no chief guests. There is just a bunch of confused audience trying to figure out, okay, are you a startup, are you an investor, are you here for networking, are you here for funding? And that is when I sort of take the charge. And the interesting part is that I was in my black and white attire. Because I was promoting a startup for lawyers, that was Counsel Connect.
As lawyers should
as lawyers should be. So I went there, and people automatically, I mean, that is the thing when I realized that there's certain regard you have for lawyers, because when I entered the arena and I saw that all these confused lot was just looking at me as some sort of a guiding light, that you can take charge and you can do something about certain things.
The hero Gotham deserves.
The hero Gotham deserves. The hero Greater Noida deserves.
And the one it needs right now.
Yeah, the one it needs right now. So yeah, I mean, we got the FIR successfully registered. We sent out legal notices to all the 4 influencers. 2 of them are cooperating with us. One of them has sent a reply, and the 4th one is MIA. So we don't know what stance he's going to take. But yeah, man, I mean, it was actually a blot on the Indian ecosystem, to be honest. Indian startup ecosystem, to be honest.
I really think these influencers also, they should, like, I don't know what the regulation, what their contracts are, but they should be very careful about before endorsing anything. If I give them 1 crore or endorse ISIS, will they do that? So they should be held accountable.
No, which is why I'm so hell-bent on pursuing the case against them. And Mr. Chetan Bhagat and Mr. Wareku are supposed to be meeting. They have apparently, through their lawyers and their managers, have agreed to meet me and actually see if they can extend their support in the litigation towards them, because ultimately they were also scammed, because they did that in good faith. And that is a different story, that the due diligence taken by them was not up to the mark, I would say. But they did that in good faith. So let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. But throwing the ball back to you, how was sports and entertainment law?
Yes, the LLM, the big L.
The big L.
It was a big W for me. It was a really nice experience. Like, it's opened my horizons to a lot of things, and also so the best takeaways were because it was in the US and everything is very practical. Though it was a breath of fresh air from the Indian education system, because you go there and then they tell you, okay, all the books are gonna be here. तुम्हें bare acts रटने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, but how to implement it in real life. And I learned contract drafting. I learned a lot of other skills. But I came back and I was good at drafting entertainment. I drafted some contracts for sports players and some artists, some movie directors, things like that. But again, I did not want to be the guy who just drafts the contract. I want to be the guy who signs contracts also. Which brings me to I want to tell you about this new project where I'm going to sign a contract. I don't want to jinx it. Nazar mat lagana koi, thanks. But I am working with the Leaflet now. The Leaflet is a newsletter, and it's a legal newsletter. They try to bring out the actual legal news or whatever kind of legal news to people, and they have offered me something which is a contract that I have to, whatever videos I've been making, something similar to that, now I have to make it through them and raise more legal awareness, talk about judgments, whatever is fresh in the week. So the first video comes out this Monday, and it'll be a weekly thing after that. So
I'll make sure I give the link on the video as well.
Please watch, please see if I hope you like it, because it's one of the finest works I've ever done, and I've quit my job now to pursue this full time. Apart from the stand-up comedy thing, this is a project I'm working on, and I really hope it'll take off. But I think it'll be good for the people as well. People will see what the issues are and how they're raised, and again, it'll be mostly jokes, parody and satire. But big things are coming.
Talking about satire, tell me something. When you sort of take on a particular issue or a particular entity or a particular individual in your jokes, what are the sort of reasonable restrictions or just some disclaimers that you want to have in mind before you go ahead with it?
So obviously, you cannot just say anything. It has to be. You cannot, because first of all, contempt of court, defamation are real things that I'm scared of. But you cannot just name call, and there's no point, there's no point in degrading other people. It's more about the institution, the system, and takes on that. So individuals are just they're just the players, not the game. But you have to be smart about it, because whatever I say, I try not to defame or degrade anyone. I don't like taking names, but people get what I'm talking about. And apart from that, there are some bare minimum things, that you cannot be obscene, you cannot be just saying anything for this sake of saying it. And no disrespect, nothing. There's some reasonable. But again, hota kya hai ki no matter what you say, somebody is gonna get offended one day. So I try to be as careful as I can. But again, sometimes I just think that, dude, I'm an artist, okay? And if I start living in fear, if I start living in shadows, then I won't be living my life. I'll be living in anxiety forever. Then I won't be able to do anything. If you fear the consequences, you will not be able to do anything in life. So okay, I say things. Maybe I try to be, as I said, I try to keep it. So there's this bare minimum line, and there's some no-nos which I don't do. But apart from that, I love saying what I want to say. And if somebody gets offended, great, amazing. Maybe I can tell you that how the joke is not disrespectful. Maybe I can tell you something else. But if you want to get offended, you will get offended. And if there are consequences, there have been some. So we'll see to it. But I cannot just shut up because the world wants me to shut up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with artists. I mean, if tomorrow the content creators stop making content in the apprehension of some people getting offended, then the whole industry sort of just collapses, and that is something which is very real. But yeah, I mean, you have to live with it. I mean, people will get offended, and there is no end to that. I mean, that is just an ongoing process.
So now, it was a great pleasure and an honor to have Advocate Manu Bhardwaj in my podcast. With that, we shall take your leave. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen.